The truth is I went to the wrong room. So, but, the big thing is I'm willing to admit my mistake. A lot of people won't admit their mistakes. So maybe Senator Dozal, maybe I need to take one of those screening tests for reading proficiencies. Well, maybe I don't. Maybe I shouldn't. Let's go and get started. And Senator Steele, would you open it up with a prayer, please?
Thank you, Chairman. Got my on 5?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. 5. Okay.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this glorious day. Thank you for the opportunity that we all have to serve the people of Georgia and make the best decisions for the 1.8 million kids in school systems across our state. God, please help us today to use your wisdom and guidance for all the things that we say and do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Senator. We're going to deviate a little bit because Senator Dixon has to go to another committee meeting. So, Senator Dixon, would you come up, please, and identify yourself either here or up there, wherever you feel comfortable doing it.
Why are you sitting out there? I'm ex officio. I'm sorry.
Senator Dixon, as you get started, please tell us why this bill is important to you. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Allow me to bring Senate Bill 63 before you, working off of LC 610062. Yes, sir. And, it's simply a bill for homeschoolers, and it simply would allow them to take their PSAT, their SAT, their ACT, or the pre-ACT test at their resident school. And that is simply all the bill does. Currently in Gwinnett, had issues with homeschoolers and have heard from over a half dozen mothers. Actually met with them at my office, but Gwinnett would some years would allow them to take it, and other years they wouldn't. And then the years that they would allow them, they would designate like one location. And as you know, the traffic in Gwinnett going across the county sometimes can take upwards of an hour. And then also displacing, the parents, having to work, things like that. And then they also had to pay for the test as well, which I think, they're paying their taxes, they're paying their, their share of the school taxes, and also I think they should be allowed to go to those residency schools. They would have to register like every other student would, so the school system would have the information of the child. And also, you're dealing with, homeschoolers, so I know some of the concerns was the way they have to set up the desk, have to be so far apart in the testing. But with them registering like the other students would, they would be able to have the ample time to accommodate for that child.
I don't know whether y'all picked up on it or not, but Senator Dixon's kind of like myself. He speaks 2 languages. He speaks English and Southern English. Hey, he used the word wouldn't.
I did. Well, I am half hillbilly, half redneck. So.
Is any it's funny. Is any questions of the committee members? Which number?
10. Thank
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
Chairman Hickman. Thank you, Senator. A question. So in the legislation, it would be that the homeschool students would not have to pay to take
That's
the
correct.
exam. Is that right?
Yeah, and your enrolled students don't pay either. So that, goes with, they're paying their property taxes just like the people that are enrolled there. So the school is not out anything from that child coming and taking that test.
Well, they're probably out the fee, right?
But the other students don't pay a fee.
I know,
that
but
are
they're not
enrolled.
students, right? So they would be out
Yeah, but
that
everybody
money,
pays their taxes. They're paying
well,
their taxes the same.
Well, you participate in the school or you don't, right? So, okay, thank you. Yeah, it's a choice.
Any other questions, committee? What's the will of the committee? Somebody make it.
I'll move to pass.
Do pass. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Discussion, can I say something real quick, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman?
you're real quick, sometimes not real quick.
It'll be quick.
So let's do it real quick.
So I did want to mention that it's not that I'm totally opposed to them not having to pay, but I will say that today happened to be AP day.
Right.
And I talked to a lot of AP students, and they're having to, a lot of places in Georgia, they are having to pay for APs. and there's really not good access. You can look at the map. I left it in my office. I didn't know I was going to end up bringing this up. But anyway, Southern Georgia, South Georgia really doesn't have great access for APs for kids. And a lot of those places, the kids would have to pay to take the test. So I'm going to be a no, not exactly because I'm totally opposed to your particular issue, but I don't think that we need to be paying for things for homeschool students when we're not covering our own kids to be able to even take APs when they are enrolled in our schools. So,
Well,
thank you.
Thank you. So all those in favor? Yeah, yeah. Number one?
Chairman Dixon, if I'm reading line 25 and 26 of your legislation correctly, it actually states that essentially if that district is not charging their students, their registered students, that they also cannot charge the homeschool students. But in the scenario where a fee was charged, if I'm reading your legislation correctly, then if a fee was charged to the, I call it the traditional public school student, then the fee would be charged as well.
You're reading that right, yes, sir.
Okay.
That's correct,
I
Senator.
don't know if that clarifies Senator Parent's
Thank you for
concern or
that.
not.
Yes, ma'am. Number 12?
Yes, sir. This is a friendly question. I'm going to vote for it because today is Autism Day.
There you
And
go.
I've been talking to so many mothers that came today. About 100 folk are down there eating the seafood. and they were telling me that they have to homeschool their kids. And so they are already spending, some of them, some of their school systems don't have good special education programs for autistic kids, and they throw them all in there together who have disabilities, and their kids are on a higher spectrum. So they've been homeschooling. So as a result, I want to make sure that they don't have to pay more money. They're already paying therapists and things. So I'm going to vote for it.
Thank you. And if I could answer, I offline would love to talk to you. I've been working with several parents. There is a trend where, if the student is able, that they're actually, instead of having to be in separate classes, they're actually having them out there with the general ed students. And it seems to really
That
help.
would be good.
Yeah, their socialization skills. But sorry, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but
I would love
yeah,
to
I would love to
talk
talk to you about that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let's take a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. So all opposed? 3 opposed. Okay. Thank you,
Thank you.
Senator. Thank you for presenting the bill.
Absolutely.
We're going to, again, move around a little bit on the schedule. And, Mr. Pro Tem, you're up. On a topic that we have really been concerned about. And, Mr. Pro Tem, I sent you a article earlier today where my school system, Bullitt County, 3 arrested on truancy charges. Bullitt County cracking down on absenteeism.
Wow.
Yes.
You're making a lot of news, Senator. Thank you.
Well, listen,
Thank
I don't know that I should be thanked for that or deserve any of the credit, but maybe just the attention that I think we all agree should be shown to this is maybe going to get some results and move us in the right direction. Mr. Chairman and people and the members of the committee, thank you for letting me present this. I'll be quick because it's, I hope, fresh in everyone's mind. This is simply a study committee in furtherance of what the bill is trying to accomplish that we talked about and we passed yesterday. I think everyone on this committee, the bill came out of the Senate unanimously, and I appreciate that. As I said when I presented to the committee last week, I think it was, and as I said on the floor, I don't think that Senate Bill 123 is a magic bullet to fix everything. And it was contemplated that we would take more time and study this in the off-season. This request for this study committee, Mr. Chairman, is just that, is that it give us some time this coming summer to address the questions and causes and concerns and also trying to fashion solutions to see if the current school climate committee that we have placed the absentee issue under is the right vehicle and model to follow, or do we need to consider something else? But I just think we need to take time and look at it. We didn't get to these bad numbers overnight, and we may not find a solution overnight. I think it's worth our time in the off-season to look into it.
What was the number, I'll just fix, do a calculation, I messed it up. What was the number you used yesterday of the 21.7% in Georgia times the number of students in Georgia equals?
Yes, sir. Equals 360,000 children in Georgia last school year that were chronically absent, meaning 10% or more of days were missed.
And 10% or more of 180 days is 18 days.
Yes, sir.
Which is 3 weeks and 3 days.
Yes, sir.
So what that also means, in order for that be 21.7 be the average, they're obviously a lot higher than that in a lot of cases. In fact, my county was 22%. And it really surprised me, even when the best school systems in the state, Senator Dozal's school system, was actually above 10%, and that surprised me. The lowest county in the state was a county by the name of Wilkinson County, and I think I made the comment yesterday, maybe we need to look at Wilkinson. They were 5.3%. We need to look at Wilkinson and see what they're doing. So thank you for doing this. I would really appreciate, and I know the members of this committee would really appreciate you including several members of this committee, because this committee really has a passion for what you're talking about and a passion for education.
Thank you. I'd be happy to do that.
Yes,
We'll
ma'am.
need all the help we can get to figure this one out.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I just read, I think it was a text, it might have been an article that talked about two of the high schools in my area, in South Fulton, the part I just lost. But it said that they have a truancy program, and once the student, most of the students who don't come, once they catch them, they make them not be out even longer. They have them to come and be in school, but doing their work in the office. And so I thought that that was pretty good, that they would not lose even more of the school lessons, and they have to be punished, but they arrange it with the parents. So when you do your study committee, will you take a look? I think Banneker was one of them.
Okay.
I'll go back and look
Okay.
at my phone and find it, and I'll send it to your office.
That'd be great. I look
Okay,
forward to
but
getting that.
I think this is good. I've been a teacher before. My mother and father were Atlanta public school teachers, so I know about the kids that need to be in school and are not. And most of the time, their parents don't even know. So once they find out with your program, maybe we can educate them
Yes,
and
ma'am.
motivate
Thank you.
them.
Thank you for those comments.
Thank
Let's,
you.
there's no lights blinking. Let's, does anybody want to make a motion? Senator Steele.
Mr. Chairman, I would be honored to make a motion to pass Senate Resolution 217, version LC 610130.
Do we have a second? Second. Second, okay, second, thank you. Bipartisan second. Okay, cool. Well, so we know there's the issue, and so it's all of our issues. So if you would, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 100%.
Thank you.
Can't be, won't get no better than that, will it?
No, sir.
Thank you,
Maybe I
sir.
should go home right
And
now.
please remember to keep us in your mind when you're setting up the numbers.
Yes, sir, sure
Okay.
will. Thank you. Thanks to everyone, and thanks, Mr. Chairman.
As an attorney, did you write this?
No, I did. Kaylee Bell in my office, and right here, and Austin Bryson in my
Very well
office.
done.
They get all the credit for everything. That's good.
Thank you. I see a friendly
Thank you for
face
the
way back
lamb.
there on the back row, like a
Yeah,
good
lamb
Baptist
down
is.
there.
Good to see you.
Good.
I would like to kind of divert a little bit before we get into Senator Hatch's bill. I neglected Miss Mary Beth Morris and Miss Jolly had signed up for Senate Bill 63. Do y'all want to come up in about 2 minutes each and speak? Even though the bill is passed, I'd love to hear your comments about it if you're in the room. Miss Morris, Mary Beth Morris, and Miss Jolly.
When it passed, they walked out.
They must have left,
They were
okay.
for
They're
it.
happy. They were happy with it, okay. Senator Hatchett, you're on board.
Oh, Lord. This is crazy. Let's see.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee. This is a bill that I've been working on with Senator Rahman of the 5th for several years now. And what it is it just allows the Department of Education to establish a pilot program for outdoor education. Personally, I really am passionate about this bill because when I was in middle school at North Habersham Middle School in 7th grade, we had an outdoor classroom, and it was right on the banks of the Sequoia River. And we learned so much, and a lot of the lessons that I learned, I still remember today because it was engaging. We were outside, it was fun, and I think, that style of learning was very good for me, and I think it can be good for youth today as well, which is why we're authorizing the Department of Education to establish this pilot program to look at other schools around the state to see how we can utilize outdoor spaces as classrooms to teach students. It's really good with science. That's what, in 7th grade, I think it's life science, and we got to do a lot outside. It was fun.
Thank you. Senator Sims, number 11.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much. I really am thrilled to hear about a bill of this magnitude because as a principal, I encouraged my teachers to take their children outside for writing lessons even. You outside, you hear things, you see things, and they learn to write and science and math, all the disciplines you can do if you're outside. So this is fabulous. You have my vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that in Chattahoochee Hills is one of my cities that I represent, and they have Serenbe there. It's a school there, and they do have all the students go outside. They plant things. They have some that do gardens, some that take care of animals, and so they have, and then they do the art. So that's the three things that's our, and it's been working for several years. And it's another one in Douglas County. If you go on from there to Foxhall or something, it's right there. And it's a private school though, and they do teach outside too.
Well, if the kids are anything like me, they remember those lessons more, or at least I did.
Hands-on.
Yeah,
So,
it's hands-on, that's right.
But I think the one in Douglas County was for kids who had behavior problems. So they put their hands in the dirt and, and they learn better that way because they're doing something that they love.
That's right.
So please look at those two schools. I think since they already have a record of doing good.
Well, if we can get this through, I'll make sure we suggest that.
Okay. If you're supposed to be positive. When?
There you go.
Anybody else have any comments from Senator Hatchett before we move forward? I think that Senator Steele has a friendly amendment to the bill.
Yep. He called me this morning that has an amendment that has to do with education days for teachers. I thought it might be more appropriate on the absenteeism bill, but
What's resolution?
I'm just kidding. But no, it is a friendly amendment. I think it's good, and while it doesn't necessarily relate right on point, I don't think I'm certainly not opposed to the amendment.
It's another education bill.
That's correct.
Very good education bill. Senator Steele, number 3. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, and actually, just to add to this, I had the opportunity to build an outdoor classroom for an elementary school in Senator Rahman's district a couple of years ago. I donated it I donated it to the school because they had a kind of a dead space, and we were able to do walking paths and mulch and stone and really make a really nice thing out of it. So
Senator Rahman has been passionate about this for many years.
he has been.
And in fact, when you were presenting the bill a minute ago, he was wiping his eyes.
Wow.
He was wiping. He's been so passionate, so concerned. Yeah, really, see that. Thank you.
So not taking anything away from his bill, but the Department of Education came to us a little on the late side with it looks like a big amendment. It's actually not. It literally changes 2 words in state code. We're adding a his or her superintendent, so we're adding an or her, and this is at their request that we're during the school year. Any personnel can use, it was a maximum of 3 days for personal, and this just allows it to go to 5. It doesn't change, there's no fiscal note to it. They're still paid the same number of days. This just gives them 5 days they can use for personal leave. And that's explained in lines 13, 14, and 15 in the amendment that you have before you. So this is Amendment AM 490232. And what it explains in lines 1 through 6 is where the, just adding the language of what we're going to do, and then at the end of Senator Hatchett's bill, after Section 2, we're adding a Section 2 that will be lines 8 through 24, just to be able to do that. And I just want to take it before the committee for your consideration, just to be able to do a little bit more for our teachers. Happy to answer any questions, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
just a question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And looking at this, do you think we would, do most local boards of education prescribe for their personnel, how many days are personal and sick leave?
They do. And there's 180 school systems, so they're going to have different rules on this. But the State Board of Ed asked if we could just have it clarified that they can take a maximum of 5 days of accumulated sick leave. This way, if they have to use it for personal reasons, professional reasons, they don't have to fake being sick. You know, right? They're not going to have to say, I've got to call out because of this. It gives them the flexibility. They're professionals. They need to be able to say, just like they would, you know, if they were working in a corporate world, to be able to do that.
Most school districts, all school districts, if they're worth anything, have a planned calendar beginning at the school year. So the expectation is that you plan your vacation times, your other times around those days. Now, I do understand that sometimes things will come up, but it's just something about this that I think we're usurping local boards of education. We're usurping their authority. Now, that doesn't sit quite right with me.
Senator, didn't you tell me that DOE asked you to bring this bill forward?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is from the DOE.
Was this a DOE
Yes,
ask?
this is not a senator from the 48th decision. This
Yes,
is
DOE. And there is, Senator Sims, there's also, Senator Sims, there's
Sir, I'm
also a
sorry.
bill in the House addressing this also. So I think it's across the board, everybody agrees it's the right thing to do.
There's an identical to the word version of this in the House, but just because we're getting close to the finish line and because this is very important to the DOE, they're just asking if we can make sure that we're helping them get
And
it
then
done.
that disturbs me because there are so many other things in education that we should be laser focused on. And this is the first time I've heard a request from DOE this year. That's my personal opinion. I'm just not going to vote for it.
Any other questions of the committee?
I do have a question, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I have so many questions today, but to the author, do you have a problem with accepting this, or it's fine?
I have no problem accepting the amendment. We talked this morning. I didn't foresee any controversy with the amendment. I do understand the senator from the 12th's concerns, but I do think this ultimately could give a local school board more flexibility because it just says a maximum of 5 days, where right now it was a maximum of 3, but I also respect you as your role as a former educator. But, you know, if the amendment is attached, I would still ask that you vote for the bill because this is a very important
But, you know,
piece of
schools are
legislation.
businesses as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
You know, and you think about your business, how would you run your business? And these people are there for the sake of the children. I mean, we can't always make it comfortable for everybody. And I do understand, I'm just not comfortable with it.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes, sir. Number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it's appropriate as it relates to the underlying bill, would you have a minute or two to allow Senator Rahman to address the committee as to his passion behind this bill? I know that you
Yeah,
mentioned that you
please.
saw him.
Please, yeah,
I'd be
please.
curious. I know
Yeah,
it's something he
if you
worked
would.
on for a while.
That's a great idea. Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
Come on, shake.
That's the only reason I'm trying.
Thank you, Senator Dozo. Appreciate that.
We passed this bill a couple of times from the Senate, appreciated your, just
He didn't do the amendment.
when get to the House, I appreciate.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want the amendment?
I don't have any objection to the amendment. He asked me, it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator.
This means a lot to them.
Okay, so let's take up the, I guess we need a motion on the bill first. Okay. Second, by Senator Kemp. All in favor of the bill?
I make a motion to amend.
Oh, we got to amend, okay. Senator goes off.
Amendment.
I would make a motion to add Amendment 490232 to the existing LC 492110.
Thank you, sir. Second on that? We get a second. Okay, so we vote on the bill,
Amendment.
amendment first. Okay, vote on amendment. So all in favor of the amendment, raise your right hand. Okay.
Thank you. We won her over. Shake for the win.
No pressure, Senator Sim, no pressure. Okay, now let's take a vote. We've already got a vote on motion and a second on the bill. Okay. Okay, now we're going to make, yeah,
There's no substitute. As
okay,
amended.
As amended.
committee substitute on your bill. We've already had a motion. Okay, no, we haven't. We have, okay, I need a motion.
We do have a motion. You're next.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Calling the question for the motion as amended.
Okay, call the question as a motion. Call the question for the motion as amended on Senate Bill
148.
148. Thank you. Call the question.
As amended by committee substitute.
As amended by committee, that's correct. Thank you.
There's no committee substitute.
Thank you. Looks like, was that everybody? That was everybody.
Thanks, brother.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks, hey, committee members, thank you for your help. I appreciate that. And I think that. 1-4. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, still do have it, Bill, okay. Senator Steele, Bill. Senator Steele?
Yeah.
It's on our agenda, it's just Senator Shaw.
Yeah, yeah, I see that, yeah.
Senator Shaw. We thought today was first name day. Jim and Billy.
Senator Steele, tell us why this bill is important to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But for the purposes of this bill, I prefer to be addressed only as Senator Shawn, as appears on the agenda.
There you go. Okay, we got you covered.
That's your name?
Well, that is in the paperwork.
Mr. Chairman, committee, sitting to my right, to your left, is Lynn Riley, dear friend and president of the Georgia Student Finance Commission. She's here to answer any questions in case we get into anything with the Georgia Promise Scholarship Act. What Senate Bill 124 is, the reason it's passionate to me, Mr. Chairman, is there was an order a few weeks ago from the White House to the Department of Defense, U.S. DOD, that said that federal dollars will follow every child in the country wherever they go as an opportunity for them to be able to use in the same way that we've been able to use the Promise Scholarship Act. So the federal portion to follow for only active duty children. So active duty military children in the state of Georgia is only 33,000 kids. It's a very, very small pool. Does not include retired, does not include reserve, does not include National Guard. It is only for active duty military personnel children K through 12, primarily clustered around military bases, right? So for those of us that have Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine bases in our district, if there are active duty military personnel with K through 12 age children, this is who it applies to. And all it does is expand, not by dollars, to the Georgia Promise Scholarship Fund. It's not adding dollars to that. There's no There's nothing attached to this other than to say that those children, because we're allowing the state dollars to follow the federal dollars, that it'll just be matched up with that. It's a relatively simple bill. And if you go to page 2 of the bill, it just defines federal agency, that this is a guidance document. Our friends at Department of Education asked for clarification on lines 37 and 38. So if I could direct you to that at the bottom of page 2. The State Board of Education shall be authorized to adopt rules as necessary to implement. So we're not going to use the legislative body to dictate the rules of how this is implemented. We are directing the DOE to set the rules on this because they will know the best way to do it. The language on page 3, sections 43 through 60, or lines 43 through 62, was broken down further by President Riley to make sure that it is absolutely clear that if funds are needed and how it will distribute and where the children of active duty military will rank within those eligible recipient numbers. So happy to answer any questions.
Number 10, 9. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Senator
Thank
Kim.
you, Senator Sean. My first question is, do federal dollars follow students to private schools?
They don't currently.
Right.
The order that was issued was to prepare for that, and it was left open-ended, right? So we don't know fully how the directive is going to go, where it's going to go. The Georgia Promise Scholarship does allow for that, but this is directing DOE to set the rules so that it matches. So we don't know yet what the final ruling on that's going to be, but we expect it will be before the fall start.
Got it. And currently, there are no federal school vouchers. Like, federal money does not go to private schools by law currently, correct?
Currently,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. All right.
But is that law or is that executive action? Because it matters, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, he can do an executive order, but that doesn't mean that it's legal right now, you know? Like, yeah.
There are a lot of things coming out of the White House right now that I think are open to some finer detail and interpretation.
Yes,
We
sir.
just want to be prepared for that, and then we just make sure that we're expanding that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're done.
I'm done, yeah.
Wherever I am in line, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Sean, and thanks so much for being with us, Lynn. We were sworn in together in the House back in 2011, so I always love it when I get to see her. Okay, so, and actually, I'm so glad that you are here, Commissioner Riley, because I was hoping you could remind me of the order of priority right now. So the scholarship is capped at 1% QBE?
That is correct.
And you qualify if you are in the list of schools.
That is one eligibility criteria. Income level is given priority. The low-income families receive first priority once all of the applications are reviewed and the determination of the total volume of eligibility. First priority will go to students from low-income families where their total family income is below 400% of the federal poverty limit. The bill that Senator Sean has before you contemplates that children of active military in the state of Georgia would be subsequent to low-income families. So low-income first, active military second, after this bill is adopted. Today, they are not considered, but today, next would be families above the 400% poverty limit.
And Commissioner Riley, where does the list of schools fit into the income rubric?
That is a separate eligibility requirement.
Is it required or not?
The attendance zone that a student resides in, based on the Governor's Office of Student Achievement list, is a separate eligibility requirement.
That must be met?
Correct.
Okay. And under this, Senator, would Is there would there be an attendance zone requirement or no?
No.
No.
No, it would not.
Okay. So essentially, if we have excess funds, these folks go above kids whose families are above 400.
Senator, that's correct.
But these other families whose income exceeds 400 have to be in the attendance zone.
That is correct.
Okay. How would this intersect with the bill that we passed the other day from Chairman Dolezal about biological and adopted children of foster families? Because I believe you answered my question that they would go to the front of the line.
I'd be happy to answer that if you'd like. One difference between this bill and my bill is the bill that I had relative to foster families, it would put them in front of all students, including those below the 400%. I think the lines you're looking for, Senator, is on line 44, the two provisions that he carves out in his bill. Number 2 is the prior year QBE trigger that we have under the current law, and then number 3 is the attendance zone issue. So that's where the attendance zone and then the prior QBE requirements in this bill are carved out. My bill did the exact same thing, kept the other provisions in place. The difference that my bill did was my bill moved the foster families to the front of the line, even ahead of the other families that were below the 400%.
And yours also carved out attendance.
Correct, and
Okay.
and the prior QBE.
And which line were you referring to?
Line 44. So
44. Thank you so much. Yeah, okay.
That's provision 2 and 3 in the
All right.
existing law.
Thank you. I just have one more question, and I think it's for you, Senator, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so I'm reading this language back in section 1 about the state school superintendent and Department of Education at line 33 shall take all steps reasonably necessary to implement guidance documents from a federal agency, including but not limited to directives relating to expanding educational freedom and opportunities for families. So my question is, are they required to implement all directives or not?
All directives as it relates to the subject matter, yes.
So so basically this says they would need to, in your interpretation, they would need to further all directives from the
DOD.
U.S. Department of Education related to expanding educational freedom, but not for anything else.
Correct.
Oh, okay. That makes it easy. Thank you.
Thank you. We just had a group of young people come in the room. Would y'all tell us where you're from? And are y'all AP students?
Yes, we're from Dunwoody High School.
Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you. Any other questions of
I don't know.
Senator Steele? Any other questions of Senator Steele? And I see none, so I would,
I would like just to,
Oh.
just number 7.
yeah.
Just say, Commissioner Lynn, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
It is.
Since we're going to have the first name day, nobody's used her name yet, so.
Oh, okay. So do I have a
The
motion?
appropriate time, Chairman, I'm happy to make a motion to pass on LC 492250S.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. Okay. So all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. So count them out. Got them? All opposed? 1, 2, 4 opposed. Okay. Bill passes. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I wish y'all had been here about 30 minutes early. Y'all, everything went smooth today, so, yeah. Yeah. We're adjourned.